This is a 10-port desktop USB charger. It has 8 USB-C ports and 2 USB-A ports. And this one has a US plug, and its claimed output is 800 watts. And so now the input here, it says, is 110 to 240 volt universal, and it says 2 amps max. So 2 amps at 240 volts is like 480 watts. 2 amps at 110 volts is 220 watts. So there's no way the output can be more than the input. So I'm wondering if maybe some of these ports share power. This was sent to me to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, it would cost you about $100. They haven't paid me for my review, and my opinions remain my own. Alright, so in the package we have a cord here that has kind of the figure-8 connector. Plugs into the back of this guy here, and this guy has your power delivery ports on the front, and it includes a little optional stand where you can stand it upright if you don't want to just leave it sideways. So we have 2 ports that are labeled power delivery 140 watts, 2 ports that are power delivery 100 watts, and then 4 ports that are labeled power delivery 65 watts. We also have 2 USB-A ports. They're called quick charge 30 watts. So on the specifications, there's 3 different USB-Cs listed and 1 USB-A listed. And so I kind of suspect that it might be that the power delivery 140 watts are sharing kind of an output. So you can get 140 watts out of those 2 connections. And then these 200 watts might be sharing an output, so you might be able to get 100 out of the 2 of those combined. And then these guys here, all 4 of those might be sharing the 65 watts. So it might be that you have a total of 140, 100, and 65, and if you add extra devices, it starts splitting power among them. Same thing here, it might be 30 watts shared between those 2. Charging a 100-watt USB-C device. It's delivering 94 watts. It's drawing in 113 watts. So the efficiency there is pretty low. That's lower than I'd expect for a GAN circuit. Alright, I'm charging 2 of these batteries. They're plugged into the 2 power delivery 100 ports. And this guy here is getting 28 watts at the 20 volt level. This guy here is getting 14 watts, and that is at the 5 volt level. So it does look like if you have 2 devices plugged in, they may not be able to charge at the same voltage level. And they certainly don't get 100 watts. Now if I unplug one of these devices, the other device will hopefully renegotiate. There, it renegotiated to 20 volts. The watts are climbing. And yeah, it's at 93 watts here. A single device plugged in here, we're getting 95 watts. I've plugged a second device into the power delivery 100 watt, and it is 20 volt level, but it's only 30 watts. So I plugged a device into the USB-A port. And when I did that, the device plugged into the 65 watt power delivery port has changed down to a 5 volt level, and it's doing 14 watts. And my phone here is doing 5 volts at 7 watts. So this guy comes nowhere near to meeting its specifications. They claim it can do 800 watts, and there's no way it can do that. I do not have a 140 watt power delivery device to charge. I only have a 100 watt device. It will put out 93 to 95 watts with 1 device plugged into it. The maximum power I've seen going into this is 113 watts. So if you plug a second device in, both devices drop. So the first one goes down to about 65, and the other one, might do 30 or 40. Now I'd be okay if there's interactions within a grouping, so like you can only use one of the power delivery 140 watts if you want the full 140 watts, or you can only use one of the power delivery 100 watts if you want the full 100 watts. But I'm not okay with there being interactions between the groups. So if I plug in something to the power delivery 140, it's charging at 100 watts. I put something pretty much anywhere else, this guy drops down, and I'm barely getting 100 watts between the devices. The 800 watt claim is just totally bogus. I've never seen it do more than about 100 watts total output. Maybe if you had a single 140 watt device, it would charge it at 140 watts. But from what I've seen, if you plug more than one item into here, it's splitting power significantly and it's dropping voltage levels. So one device will be at 20 volts and the second device will be down at 5 volts. And so it's basically, at this price point, a complete scam and ripoff. Now, if this were a very low price point, I could see, hey, you want to charge a lot of devices at 5 volts at a couple of watts each, fine. You have a bank of cell phones you want to just keep charged all the time, it's fine for that. But the marketing copy is talking about charging multiple laptops at full speed, and that just doesn't work. I plugged in 2 different devices. I tried, different ports, different combinations, and as soon as you plug that second device in, the high speed disappears. So maybe 2 devices at 60 and 30 watts, but any more than that, it just drops completely off. So I don't recommend this product at all.